Over the last few days I've been trying out and playing around with the Year 5 PTS. One of the first things I was keen to jump into was the new game mode, Descent. So in this video, I'm going to run through how the mode works and provide some of my thoughts around it at the end. Firstly, I have to say it, so I'll say it right now. This is a PTS. What we are seeing here has the potential to change. Not the entire thing or anything, so this still gives a good idea of what to expect, but there are some obvious areas that are being tested out and will likely be adjusted for the final release. With that in mind, let's check it out. On my first run, I jumped in with my mate, Alpha Bravo. We were taking our sweet time, plotting through the rooms, and I was making sure to check everything out, to make sure I wasn't missing anything. I had some pretty rough RNG with a fairly subpar starting skill and rifle. However, I quickly found out that grenades and ammo are quite important. Because you can so clearly see where the enemies are coming from, you can just throw a grenade and that would usually just clear the spawn, allowing you to focus on the other door. So I quickly stacked into extra grenades, and although I would have preferred an assault rifle of some type, I found the rifle to be far more economical on ammo, which became more important in later rounds. I'm not going to say it was particularly difficult, especially when you're given the option of hard, medium or easy rooms to choose from. But to be fair, it was our first run and we were just mucking around to try and figure things out. Eventually we came across the Nemesis encounter. There was a pretty cool simulation animation, where the music obviously hadn't been added for the PTS, but we got the idea that shit was about to go down. I'm not sure what I expected, but given how the last 20 rooms or so went, it certainly wasn't this. Like the cocky beast that I am in these games, I ran forward and was completely bum-rushed by one of the two Nemesis characters. It almost took me out in one shot. To be fair, it may as well have, because I was lying on the ground shortly after, with Alpha Bravo falling not far behind me. We ended up calling a night after that, but I was left thinking, I don't really understand this game mode. Like, I don't get it. What's the end game? What are we fighting towards? So first thing in the morning, I decided to take another crack at it, on my own. I actually did a couple of runs in the morning because I wanted to see what would happen if I took the choice to leave early rather than being killed. So I ran a few rooms and made it past the first boss room and left. I honestly couldn't see anything gained through doing this, but maybe this will change. It seems to be a bit odd to include the option, when instead I could just let myself die, or quit. With the next run, to my surprise, my RNG was even worse than before. A terrible skill and a choice of weapons I really didn't want. But at least I knew what to expect this time. I leaned on my grenades, and I was fortunate enough to gain the Mad Bomber talent, which refunds grenades if you get a kill with them. But I knew this wouldn't be useful for long, as the enemies would get tougher. Eventually I would get a combination of weapons that I wanted, a decent rate of fire assault rifle and a high damage rifle. After the first run as a duo, I had a bit of a strategy. I would put everything into armor and focus on maxing out the offensive talents, with just a couple of the stronger defensive talents, like Adrenaline Rush and Preservation. My skill was rubbish, so I would ignore these talents for the most part. This would allow me a steady stream of armor with more than enough DPS going out. Once I reached the Nemesis, I felt in a much better position, or at least I didn't think I'd be downed in one shot. To play it safe, I also purchased shock rounds for both my rifle and the assault rifle. The plan was to be aggressive and stop them from getting too close, while attempting to predict the incoming shots. I loaded it up and unleashed. It was actually really easy. The assault rifle scared the Nemesis back, and with the rifle and shock rounds, it basically stood still while I took it down. I tried this a few more times later on, and I definitely recommend it if you're having trouble with a Nemesis round. Anyway, from here I continued through the rounds, managing to stack talents I was running, 2 and even 3 times on some of them. The enemies were getting tougher and more numerous, but my build was also getting much stronger. I was barely using medkits, and my ammo was maxed out. I was creeping up on 3 hours played, and I think I was sitting at around level 11 or 12. I felt like I could have gone for at least another 10 levels, based on how things were playing out. But real life got in the way and I decided to dip out at the next opportunity. Before I continue with my thoughts around the game mode, it needs to be stated that the rewards haven't been included in the PTS at this stage, and these could have a massive impact on how I personally feel about it. This could be the best way to acquire resources towards expertise or gear optimization, or maybe it'll be the most efficient way to gain XP. Because right now, I can't really see that my time spent will be rewarded in a way that will be worth me playing this game mode any more than once or twice. So what did I think about it? Well, starting with the environment, it felt very underground, but with a Division 2 twist. Like in the Division 1's underground, each area felt like more of an arena. You can see across the map, and in Descent you can even see where they're coming from before they spawn. You were given 10 seconds to get prepared before anything attacks. This felt a little bit cheesy to start with, but when you get to the later levels, you're certainly more thankful for it. I can't complain about what the environment has shown me so far. But there were certainly a number of boss encounters that played out on the exact same map, and while this made things much easier to prepare for, it did get a little bit repetitive. There is a chance of a hazard in each encounter. This could be electricity like we've seen in Countdown, where you have to get off the ground before you get shocked, but there could also be hazardous clouds that you need to stay away from, or even explosive gases. These are an absolute pain in the ass. As soon as you can, upgrade to reduce the chance for hazards. As minimal as they may seem, they make a huge difference where things start getting tight. As I said earlier, there are options between rooms to choose from as far as the difficulty level goes. I like this is good, provided there is an advantage to taking up these higher difficulty levels, because right now I don't really see any reason to take on the more challenging rooms. A few more credits, but that's kind of about it. Otherwise, as a whole, I wouldn't say the difficulty was overly too challenging. Once you learn the mechanics, and you choose your talents wisely, I feel you only get stronger. Like I said, I only played in bursts of 1 to 3 hours at a time, so I'm not sure how things ramp up in the later levels. I really enjoy the mechanics around the weapon, skill, and talent distribution. Yes, it's completely RNG, but I enjoy being forced to use weapons and skills that I wouldn't usually pick in the main game. The talent system is a particular favourite of mine. The number of weird pieces you can throw together makes for some pretty strong builds, especially since you can stack them. Adrenaline Rush and Preservation stacked 3+ times, I felt unkillable. And then there are the exotic talents. Some of these are awesome. I wasn't very lucky with the ones I was seeing, they didn't really complement the builds I was making, but I could certainly see how these could change things up. The only thing I was confused about was the skills. I would get one at the beginning and that was it. I never saw another option to get another. I'm not sure if it was something I was doing wrong, but this basically led me to ignoring skills altogether. Maybe new skills only come up every 20 levels or so, but by that point, unless you've been speccing into them, the skills are pretty worthless. This could be a bug or maybe something I'm doing wrong. I guess we'll find out soon. I play these types of games for the evolving story and the feeling of progression. The more time I put into it, the more my character grows. While I really enjoy some of the mechanics that have gone into Descent, I don't really think I'm the target audience for it. Don't get me wrong, I've thoroughly enjoyed playing through it multiple times, and I'm planning to play some more of it as of writing this, to make sure I haven't missed anything. But I don't think I'll be able to play this any more than once or twice after it releases. To jump into this mode and play it for 3, 4, 10 hours, I can't see what they'll be able to do to reward me for the time spent towards the main game, to make it worth it for me. This mode actually feels like more of a variation of a horde mode to me. I know I could keep playing and reach greater levels, etc., but why would I bother? How does this benefit my character in the main game? I've been very open on my thoughts around previous game modes like Survival and Last Stand, and I love these, but I can be done with each of them in well under an hour, so the rewards gained don't really matter so much. If I'm playing something like Descent, let's imagine I played for 24 hours straight, and I managed to get to a level of something ridiculous like, 100. I'm not really going to be keen to jump into this again, knowing that I'll have to spend at least another 24 hours straight getting there. Again, maybe I'm not the target audience for this game mode, and we have no idea what the rewards will be like. But as it currently stands, and yes, this is a PTS so things will change, I don't believe Descent has a place in this game, at least not one that makes sense to me. Summit wasn't the most amazing game mode out there, and it had challenges and things that would reward certain exotics, etc. But at least you could walk away from it, continue later on. So while I love some of the mechanics, I rate Descent as having lower interest or lasting power than even the Summit at this point. But these are just my thoughts. Have you tried out the PTS? Maybe watch some streams. What do you think of it? I welcome a challenge to my opinion around this. Like I said, maybe it's just not my thing, but exactly what the rest of the community is after. Leave some comments in the description. This is a PTS, the devs need all the feedback we can give. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers!